and let's get started with our networking at noon. Hi, I'm Tiffanie Kellog, and very excited to be joined today by Jessica, who is the founder of Working Women of Tampa Bay. And if you're a woman in Tampa Bay, you've probably heard of Working Women of Tampa Bay. It's probably one of the premier women's organizations that we have here in the local market. And so I hear we have congratulations in order this week, Jessica, or this month, as Working Women of Tampa Bay turns 12 years old.
Yeah, it is actually this week. We celebrated our 12th anniversary on June 1st, which was Tuesday. And but really all the festivities are all month long as we celebrate being in business and helping collaborate and connect hundreds, if not thousands of women over the last 12 years.
That's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about Working Women in Tampa Bay and what made you start the organization?
Yeah, so Working Women in Tampa Bay is one of the largest women's organizations here in the Tampa Bay area. And we have 600 members all over Tampa Bay, from Pinellas to Pasco to Hill Road, Tampa, all over. And I started it 12 years ago when I was still in television news looking for a women's networking organization that would help with entrepreneurship and help women get businesses started. And I didn't find anything quite like it. So I went ahead and started something myself about 12 years ago. And so grateful to have about 20 founding members. A few of them are still with us, like Michelle Northrup and Patricia Rossi. And they were able to help get the group started about 12 years ago. We do about 15 to 20 events a month. While we were in COVID, a lot of those events were actually virtual. But now that we are back, we're doing about that same number of events, both virtual and in person. In fact, we just had an event this morning in St. Pete where we were able to not only have 20 women gather, but we were able to kind of christen, so to speak, a woman in our group, Lanice with Livio's Catering, has a brand new location in Midtown St. Pete. And so we were able to have an event with her, which was super great. And Dr. Herman was our sponsor. So we've been able to get back to networking. Yesterday, we had a fantastic event at Pour Yours in Clearwater, where we had about 30 women come out to downtown Clearwater with the help of our ambassador, Dory Kowitz. We had a fantastic event. So we've been having events now for the last couple months as more people get vaccines and more are out in the networking world wanting to connect with other women. And so we're really glad to be back in business and really excited to celebrate our 12th birthday. We're actually going to have, there you are.
I was just watching, keep going.
You disappeared for a second. We're actually going to be doing our a big rooftop celebration next week in St. Pete at Red Mesa Cantina. So it's been fun over the last 12 years. We've supported and helped a lot of women connect and collaborate, and really excited to enter our 12th year.
So I know you have the events. What do you think the future holds for online networking versus in-person networking?
Well, I think that a lot of women have decided they like the virtual aspect of networking because it's a time saver. So often they would have to, get dressed up, jump in the car, drive over a bridge, and before you know it, they've racked up, 3 hours of their time, their revenue generating time, to come out and network or take a workshop. And so I think for a lot of women, especially women who are really tight with their schedule, the virtual options turned out to be a blessing in disguise. That said, though, we're seeing a lot more women re-engage with the organization in the last couple months because they felt, it's the personal connections that they make that were so important. Yeah. And so, I think that the virtual is here to stay as a way of especially supporting them through education. So we're still doing, several hours of education every month. Like this month, we've got Investing Like a Boss. We have something about women-owned businesses and funding. So we're going to keep those virtual education options available and some virtual networking available. But it doesn't replace the in-person. And we've been told that time and time again. So we're listening to our members, and we're making sure to add back as many in-person events as possible. So yeah, I think it'll be great to have a robust calendar that has both options for women who want both of those, flexibility when it comes to networking and learning.
I have a feeling it's going to be like this influx of in-person networking, and everybody's like going to be stampeding to that. And then it's going to we'll see more of a balance of some people are like, oh yeah, I love the in-person. And like you said, if I have to cross the bridge and it takes me 3 hours to do an event, I could do an hour. Otherwise, I think, there's going to be some balancing going on as people try to figure out how much can I do in person and how much can I do online. But it's great to have the opportunity to do both with working women. Now, I know, go ahead.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Tiffanie. And obviously, we're grateful for your support because you supported us so many times with our virtual education during COVID. So we're really grateful for that.
Happy to help. Always happy to help. Speaking of helping, I know that you have the Working Women of Tampa Bay has an amazing foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what you've been able to create over the past couple of years? And I'm going to put the spotlight on you, so you won't see me, but I'm here.
You're going to disappear, poof, right?
Yeah. So you're here, and you're going to tell us about the foundation.
Yeah. So the Working Women Foundation actually started about 5.5 years ago. We had a lot of members that wanted to give back to the community, including myself. And the best way we found to do that was to help other women, small businesses get off the ground or to grow during pivotal parts of their business. So we actually, 5.5 years ago, with the help of Michelle Turman and Teresa Wells now, we were able to get it off the ground. And in the last couple of years, we've actually instituted this really neat program called the Project of 100. And so it's 100 women who donate $100 once a year. And we actually just kicked off our third round. So it's a June 1st. It kicks off on our birthday. And 100 women donate $100, which equals $10,000 that we are able to then give in the form of seed money to 10 women-owned businesses. So we are committed to giving then 10 women, small businesses, $1,000 in seed money on an annual basis. And the way we do it is super fun. Those 10 of those donors get invited to a luncheon where they watch 3 of those women who are seeking seed money pitch via video. And then there's a lot of great discussion and then some voting. And then at the very end of each lunch, we select one amazing, deserving women-owned business to receive the $1,000. And then for the runners-ups, we always find a way to help them as well, usually in the way of resources and connections that they probably wouldn't have been able to receive if they hadn't had gone through the Working Women Foundation. So since we started 5.5 years ago, we've been able to raise about $75,000 and be able to give that to over 100 women-owned businesses in the Tampa Bay area. So it's been fabulous. And we just celebrated hitting our goal of 100 women for the second year, and it just restarted on Tuesday. And we already have, I think, like 5 or 10 women who have already committed toward the 2021-2022 round. So it's been fantastic. And one of our recent winners is Florida Farmhouse, and we just did a fantastic event for her and did a check presentation. And she has a cute little antique shop off of 41 and Seffner, and the women all came and were for the check presentation. And then of course they supported her by buying a ton of stuff. Yeah. So it's just one great success story out of the 100 that we have from that program.
That's awesome. So what's one thing you have on the calendar over the next year? And I know the calendar may not be fully populated yet, that you're excited about bringing for working women.
Well, yeah, we populate our calendar only a month or two ahead, and that's because I like to really pay attention to what's going on in the market and the different things that we can do. So we're very seasonal. So we'll do events based on, like right now it's a great time to do things, well, we're going to do a rooftop party. Hopefully it doesn't rain on us. But so, yeah, so we look for seasonality with our events so that we can kind of customize them and make them more like parties. We do an annual conference, and this year it'll probably be closer toward the end of the year. Usually at that conference, we have a couple hundred women, 300-400 women, and we have anywhere between 20 and 40 speakers, depending on if it's a 1-day or a 2-day conference. So we're still kind of hashing out the details on that. We've had them at the Strata Center in the past. We've had them at the JCC as well, both of our fantastic venues. So we always look for a venue that's intimate and theater-like, so that we really create an environment where women get like a theater-like experience, and so that it's a little bit more intimate, a little bit more we do a little bit more deep diving than you get maybe at a normal conference. So it's a great tribe building event. So looking forward to that sometime in the late fall. We wanted to make sure, as more and more people start getting out there, more people are attending those larger style events. So we're still discussing capacity. I will tell you though, one of our very first events back in April was our back to business brunch that we did on the yacht Starship, and that was fabulous. What a great way to celebrate getting back to business, getting more women out into the networking world. And there's no place to do it than Tampa Bay and on the yacht Starship. So that's always a favorite. That happens annually, as well as International Women's Day in March. COVID put the kibosh on it this year, but we're really looking forward to International Women's Day 2022. But yeah, hopefully we'll have more information on the conference here in the next month or two, but definitely looking at a late fall this year. But don't want to miss it this year. Last year got canceled, so we definitely
we're ready for it this year.
Say that again.
We definitely want it this year. So we did have a Facebook user. For those of you watching on Facebook, if you go to chat.restream.io/FB, it will show us who you are. So I'm not sure who this comment was, but thanks for the comment of, I totally agree with you. I appreciate the hybrid networking opportunities. So we do love those hybrid networking opportunities. And whether you're looking at the conference this coming up later this year, or the networking events, the coffees. I love the virtual coffees on Wednesday mornings. You can always go to workingwomenoftampabay.com to check out the calendar and see what's going on. Now, so we've talked a lot about work. What do you like to do for fun?
So I like to garden. That actually started during COVID, when I was looking for reasons to kind of get outside and enjoy the fresh air. And at the time, we had just a little balcony garden that we were doing off of our condo. But yeah, found great joy in growing things, and specifically in water propagation when it comes to like vines and caladiums and some other different kind of plants that are very, very, they grow very well, and all they need is just a little bit of water. And so I was able to, I don't know, at one point I had about 50 plants in my condo. And coleus, caladiums, and pothos.
You've got a bunch that I've never even heard of that I don't have, because I started gardening in this COVID time too. Mine are all inside. Maybe that's the difference. Mine are all inside.
No, well, some of them were outside, some of them were inside, but both of them grow. All three of those grow both inside and outside. I will say though, pothos, which is that really beautiful green vine, with too much sun will fry. So it's actually a very fragile.
I have some of those in my dark corners of my house.
Yeah, they're really good inside, and they actually don't need a lot of water either. You can actually probably do more harm than good with over watering and too much sun with pothos. Whereas like coleuses will drink forever and will soak, especially like the bright green ones will soak up as much sun as you give them. So that's something fun that I picked up. I really, really enjoy. There's just something relaxing about it. And I think I really enjoy the productivity of it, meaning that like I like watching things grow. There's some sort of fulfillment that I get from actually seeing, something that I clipped off another plant, threw it in a vase, put it under a green light, and then before I know it, I've got a full-fledged other plant. So I started off with one pothos basket, maybe about this big, and it was actually my dad's that I took from his house when he passed. And so beautiful. And it was like, oh my gosh, I think at one point it was like 8 feet long, the vines. And I was like, I have to do something about this because it was like taking over. It was small but mighty when it came to its vine, its little legs. And so I just started clipping each leg, and from each leg I'd get like 10 leaves. And so now I call it the mother, like the grandmother plant. Now like that grandmother plant has like granddaughters because I've clipped its daughters because its daughters have gotten have taken over. So really neat. I would say off of that mother plant, I've probably, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 plants off of one plant. And so I started giving them away. So those of you who are some working women out there have been a recipient of these pothos babies. And what I love is a lot of people will take a picture of it and say, I haven't killed it. It's still alive. And so Maria Campos, I gave her both a pothos and a caladium in a beautiful yellow pot. And she took a picture of it the other day, and she's like, I haven't killed it. It's still alive. So yeah, so there you go. I'm spreading joy all over Tampa Bay, one pothos at a time.
Gotcha. Love it. I got an RO garden, the one that like is the water system. And so I've been, it's been almost a year, but I've taken that and I've been propagating the cuttings because those things get crazy. And so you prune them. And so I probably have, 20 cherry tomato plants. So I need to start doing what you're doing. And hey, who wants a little tomato for their house? I don't know if they need, because I have grow. My husband, as we were in COVID, he hooked me up with a pretty cool office. So now I have like grow lights, and I'm able to grow some outdoor type stuff inside my office. It's my dog's favorite room, and I think it's because it smells so good in here, or fresh,
and probably has a lot of oxygen.
Yeah.
Right. That's one way to look at it. Is you're breathing lots of fresh air.
Yes. So 2 final questions for you, unless there's anything else that you want to add.
Okay, now I'm ready for them.
All right. So what is your top tip or suggestion for ladies out there looking to create some success?
So what I find, especially given what I do with running a networking organization, is, and this is a common problem I hear over and over again, it's lack of follow-up. So they'll meet somebody at a networking event, like a women event or a chamber event even, and they have this really great conversation and they're super jazzed, and there's all this goodwill that's created during that conversation and a promise to follow up. Let's go have a cup of coffee, let's have lunch, or even let's just connect via email or Zoom and hash out maybe how we can help each other. And then one of those folks ends up not fulfilling that promise of reaching out. And so I think that there's a lot of business that gets left on the table on a regular basis because we're quite frankly, and this might have been more pre-COVID, but super overwhelmed. And so we have the best intentions to, we get 5-10 business cards at an event, we come home, and a lot of times they just become, like stacks, on our desk. And so the best tip I have is that night, sometime that day, at least try to connect to them on LinkedIn. Almost everybody you meet at an event, like a working women or another event, should be on LinkedIn, because out of all the social networks, it's the most professional. So, and if they're not on LinkedIn, well, that's a whole nother challenge. Maybe you don't want to connect with them. But so if they're on LinkedIn, connect with them right away. In fact, sometimes I'll do it right in front of that person. Like while we're chatting, I'll say, oh, can can I connect with you on LinkedIn? Because I'm horrible with business cards. If it's a piece of paper, I might lose it. I might put it in my purse, might put it in my pocket or whatever. And so connecting via LinkedIn right away is at least a step in the right direction, because at least you have that person's contact information saved. And then the second piece of advice would be to contact them within 24 hours, because if you don't connect them within 24 hours after you meet them, chances are you're not going to, or you're going to do it 6 months later when it dawns on you, oh my gosh, like I forgot I met this fantastic person and they do X, Y, and Z, and now I need X, Y, and Z. And then you reach out, and sometimes that's okay, but a lot of times it's like, well, wow, why didn't I hear from you 6 months ago? So I would say connect with them on LinkedIn immediately, like right after the event, and then connect via email within 24 hours to at least say, it was lovely to meet you. I really would love to catch up. And then I would think the third step actually is to actually try to make an appointment, because you might have the best intention to keep in contact with them, but if you don't actually set a time or a date to connect, then chances are that's not going to happen either. So that first email, lovely to meet you, would really love to connect. Here's 3 dates in the next 30 days. I'm available either in person or via Zoom to just grab a cup of coffee, or, that's what's great about Zoom is you can have that 30-minute meeting without having to get in the car, go to the coffee shop, stand in a Starbucks line, or hopefully you're patronizing a locally owned coffee shop like Blush in St. Pete, or tea shop like Tia Bella. But yeah, so I think follow-up is the most important piece, and you need to be really regimented. I'm not really a regimented, disciplined person, but in this case, I have to be, or it won't happen. I'll see them on Facebook like 3 weeks later and go, oh my gosh, I forgot to connect with that person. So that's my advice.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'd like to say, to me, if you don't have time to do the follow-up, then you don't have time to go to the event.
Right.
Why if you're not going to do the follow-up, why are you going to go to the event? And I love the virtual coffee when I can make it, that Working Women host at 9 a.m. on Wednesday mornings. And I actually have it scheduled in my calendar from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. And then because it gets done at 10, but that 30 minutes in case, and I never need the whole 30 minutes to do the follow-up, but it's the built-in follow-up time. So I make sure I always have time to do the follow-up.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And that same advice could be when you do in-person events, right? Yeah. You're going to go back to the office immediately and, at least do the LinkedIn part or something like that. So no, I love that, booking that extra time. And you're right. If you're out there spending time and money networking and you're not doing the follow-up, wow. I mean, that's 5 or 10 hours probably a week that you could just trim out of your schedule if you decide that that's not what you want to do. Get that time back.
It's about being efficient. We got too much going on to not take advantage of being efficient.
Right. I completely agree. Okay, you had one more question?
Yep. So I always love to ask, what is your favorite brew? So this could be tea, coffee, kombucha, beer, or liquor. Not included is soda and wine because they are not brewed.
They're not brewed. Okay. Well, yes, I'm a huge tea drinker. So I already mentioned, Blush Tea Shop in St. Pete, and Tia Bella both has Tampa and St. Pete, and I think actually in Sarasota too. But I love tea. And actually one of our recent seed money winners, Ashley with Brew Tea, has this fantastic, it's a little pouch that has the tea in it, but it's also already sweetened, very lightly sweetened. So if you tend to like a lightly sweetened tea, but you don't want to necessarily add a bunch of sugar or honey to your tea, these are perfect. And she has all sorts of flavors, usually very seasonal. So we do these Working Women tote bags. We did one for International Women's Day. We did one for Christmas and the holidays. And we put women-owned business products from our members in the bags, and it was a great way to raise money for the foundation. And so Ashley actually put this strawberry tea in the bags, but it actually is got like a hop in it. So like similar to what brews for beer. So, and I
Yeah.
think that little bit of hops gives it a little bit of caffeine. This certain kind of hop has a little bit of caffeine in it. And so it was actually a way of adding a little additional caffeine to the strawberry tea. So anyways, and what was great about it was it smelled the entire bag up. So you like, oh, that, and Michelle Northrup had strawberry dip that you just mix with cream cheese or whipped cream and make
I'm hungry now.
I know, right? And so, and of course, everything had to be pink because it was International Women's Day and pink is our color. So you would unzip this giant working women tote and like open it, and it would just, these smells of strawberry just like wafted out of the bag. And so, yeah, so tea is my brew of choice. I love going to like high teas. Michelle Turman with Catalyst Consulting is a good friend of mine. And that's one of our like guilty pleasures, is to go to a high tea, like in Oxford or Chattaways, or all the great places you can have high tea in Tampa Bay. And so tea is definitely my brew of choice. And now I'm stuck on Ashley's Embrew lightly sweetened teas, because it skips a step for me as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so very much, Jessica, for being on here today. If people are looking to get in touch with you, how do they get in touch with you?
So the website's Working Women of Tampa Bay workingwomenoftampabay.com. And then email is workingwomenoftampabay@gmail.com. Super easy. And then the Working Women Foundation is workingwomenfoundation.org. So if you're out there and you either want to donate to the project, Power of 100 project, or you want to be a recipient of the money, there's an application and a donation button right there on workingwomenfoundation.org. And I mentioned LinkedIn, and that's really a powerful tool for me. I think I have over 10,000 connections on LinkedIn, and it's a great way to, kind of keep up with what we're doing. It allows me to keep up with what you're doing. So by all means, send me a LinkedIn connection. I think there's only 2 Jessica Rivellis in the world. At least there was last time I checked. It's been a while, and that person lives in Dublin. So I'm pretty sure that's not me. Although I have, my ancestry has an Irish castle, but it's not near Dublin. So no, so I'm not the Irish Jessica Rivelli. So chances are you'll be able to find me just fine on LinkedIn, and I'd love to connect you there. Just shoot me an email. Very accessible, just as you should be when you run a networking group, right, Tiffany?
I would think so. Yeah, you should be easy to find out there.
There you go. Don't be hiding.
Well, I want to say thanks, everybody, for being here with us in this week's episode of Networking for Noon. Thank you so much, Jessica, for being here with us as well. And I look forward to hopefully having y'all join us next week. We're going to be talking to Lois Weinblatt, and we are going to be talking a little bit about vision and creating a vision for yourself and your business. She's a vision coach that I've worked with, had a ton of fun with. So I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks, everybody.